welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley, and today we're going to be discussing heirs property, the hidden threat that's costing families their homes and their wealth. When property is passed down without the right legal protections, it can fall into legal limbo, leading to family disputes, forced sales, or even other losses due to predatory investors. Far too many families lose what should have been their legacy simply because they didn't have a plan in place. So if you want to protect your family's future, join us for this probate real estate series where we'll be breaking all of this down. Now let's get into this. Heirs property may seem harmless at first because it's just a piece of property or land that's being passed down through generations, right? But when there's no clear legal title or estate plan in place, that property can become a ticking time bomb full of legal, financial, and emotional risk that can tear a family apart. This is exactly why understanding the risk of heirs property ownership is so important. Without proper planning, those risks can quickly escalate, leading to disputes, tax foreclosures, or forced sales that could cost your family their home and their legacy. So let's start with the financial risks. One of the biggest threats to heirs property is unpaid taxes. When there are multiple owners, but no one is in charge of making sure that the taxes get paid, the property becomes vulnerable to tax sales or tax foreclosure. That means that the family can lose their home either to the government or to a predatory investor who purchases the property for a fraction of its value, forcing the family out. Now let's talk about the legal risk. Heirs property is often tangled in a web of ownership disputes. Since there's no clear decision maker, everyone has to agree on what happens with the property. But what if they can't agree? These disagreements can lead to long, costly legal battles that eat into any potential profit or equity that the property would have had. And in some cases, the legal fees can be so high that the family is literally left with nothing. Now, finally, the emotional consequences of heirs property ownership, and these are often the most devastating. Families who inherit property are sometimes faced with dismantled relationships, resentment, and even heartbreak. Siblings who once had a close relationship can find themselves at odds over a property, with emotions running high, friendships being tested, and generational wealth slipping through their fingers. It's hard to watch something that should bring a family together tear them apart. And let's not forget the impact on the community that heirs property ownership has. When a family loses a property to tax foreclosure or a predatory investor, it's not just the family that suffers, the whole neighborhood does. These properties often end up abandoned, neglected, or sold to outside investors who have no connection to the community. Now, that one thing that might seem small can lower property values, it can increase crime rates, and it can weaken the fabric of the neighborhood. So communities then lose not just homes, but also their sense of stability and unity. So as you can see, heirs property creates significant risks, but it's something that you can help protect against with the right planning. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about why every homeowner needs to at least have a will. We'll also talk about how that will can help avoid some of these heirs property issues. We'll also be debunking some common myths about estate planning and explaining why a will alone may not be enough to fully protect your family's legacy. So you don't want to miss it. We'll see you next week. Subscribe to my channel to learn more about probate real estate, financial literacy, and generational wealth planning.